Okay, it's day 64 of the Gulf oil disaster. Many are still crying out for the well to be capped and the oil flow stopped. I've tried to expose dangers that information from survivors strongly suggested the integrity of the lower marine platform and the well itself were in question. I personally had this information verified by local engineers and a geoscientist. Wolf Blitzer with CNN also verified this in an interview with an engineering professor from Purdue University. Again, the entire lower platform needs to be encased in order for us to contain and control the oil flow, both without creating back pressure or allowing further spillage into the waters. This would be a temporary fix, but would be effective and would buy precious time needed until the relief wells can be completed. Now, just for my own sake of sanity, this video is going to be more focused on my becoming the devil's advocate. I hope you people enjoy what I'm about to say. I just can't believe this, but this is the way some people think. First of all, Mr. Tony Hayward, he's just the BP CEO, not involved in day-to-day operations and discussions regarding every aspect of BP's business. Come on, folks, they're a big business. They've got a lot of stuff going on. You can't expect one person to know everything. And as far as the cleanup is concerned, well, one, if we're talking about cleanup at this point, then the spill must not be that bad, right? I mean, otherwise, how could we clean something up that hasn't really finished spilling? Not only that, as a parent myself, if my child spills milk, I'm going to reprimand him, but then I'm going to go in and clean it up myself. I'm not going to expect him to clean it up. 9 chances out of 10, he's just going to smear it all over the table and wipe it down onto the floor, giving me even more to clean up. How could we expect Mr. Tony Hayward to actually know anything more than business? After all, he's just a businessman. Then we have President Obama. He's young, so he has no personal memory of disasters in the United States. After all, we really don't have that many. You know, a couple of hurricanes, monsoons, earthquakes, tornadoes, but no disasters like other countries. He's also inexperienced, considering he's been almost consistently campaigning for the past 5 to 8 years. His focus has been on becoming an elected political official. No time really to study history or look at any of the bad things that may or may not happen here in this country. Unfortunately, he's also uninformed. He has advisors that are also inexperienced in everyday life, as we know it, because they live in this little bubble that protects them from having to deal with mundane issues like we have to deal with. Like Tony Hayward, Mr. Obama is only the President of the United States of America, and he's not involved in daily operations, menial decisions of every single aspect of running a country. Come on, that's what he's got Congress and Senate for. He's got tons of little government agencies that handle all the menial crap. He really doesn't need to be involved in every single aspect. Shouldn't we give him a break? And we've got the media. Many in the media are also too young and have no personal memories of disasters in our country. They focus on other countries who have bigger disasters because that's much more newsworthy. To them, I'm sure, America's a pretty boring place. Now, the media and the government are elites. They are the most intellectual class we have in the country. They are simply trying to protect us little people from the truth that we cannot handle. I hate being one of the masses that is just too ignorant, too inexperienced, too uneducated to be able to understand the intricacies of life. It really sucks to be us, doesn't it? Now, President Bush, George Bush Jr. actually, and Dick Cheney, this oil spill is all their fault. Of course, it was probably their fault that there was a 1979 oil spill in the Gulf, in the Bay of Campeche, from the Ixtoc 1. That lasted 9 months before they finally finished the relief wells and got that leak stopped. If we have that to look forward to, it's probably their fault too. We also have the lack of regulation, oversight, and personal involvement by George Bush Jr. and Dick Cheney. So any of the regulations that should be in place probably aren't, and that's their fault. It's probably also their fault for the Texas refinery explosion that happened, like on land, not underwater. It's probably Bush and Cheney's fault that BP made bad safety decisions, resulting in hundreds and hundreds of safety violations, way more than any of their competitors. It was also Bush and Cheney's fault that the world has remained addicted to oil since the 1970s. And every viable energy alternative solution that's been discovered and designs refined and made inexpensive and viable, it's their fault that those things have been ignored, just like all of the other problems that they've caused. So I just wanted y'all to know that maybe we should give all these people a break and not be so hard on them. I mean, after all, we're not perfect either. Thank you. My next video is going to include the solutions that I promised, but I had to do this one first. Thanks, Pete.